Hello and welcome to the channel. I am Wendy and this is my living room at home. Hello and welcome to all the subscribers, and if you are new, welcome on board. Please do consider subscribing and you can see more videos. Whether you like them or not is another question. So basically this video was to do a breakdown of the fast track qualification that I did. I'll go through briefly what I've done before I did the fast track, and I'll talk about the fast track, what was included, and what I will do is in the description, I will actually put down the schools that I found that actually do this qualification that I've actually done now. The people that I did this through actually don't do this qualification anymore. They do their own. So I'm going to put down some schools in the description that actually do this qualification now. Because it was fantastic. Anyway, what I'll briefly do is go through exactly my process and my grooming journey just in snippets, so you know exactly what I've done to date. So I went to, firstly I went to school. I didn't do too well at school, but I always knew that I wanted to work with animals and do grooming dogs. My mum was a dog groomer. She was actually a dinner lady and a dog groomer on the side. And she used to do some of my teachers' dogs as well when I was at primary school. So I got a few brownie points for that. So when I finished school, I had enough qualifications to be able to go and do a college diploma in small animal care and animal management at Reaseheath College. Now, I did that for a year, and that included all sorts of things to do with small animals, dogs, cats. We even did some farm animals, ducks, all sorts of things, pigs even. And so I did that for a year, and alongside it we did grooming every week for a year. So we'd go into the grooming room and we'd do bathing and clipping and scissoring and everything really. And then at the end of the year we had our exams. We had to do a practical exam for our grooming, which I've probably said on a video before, but I had a miniature schnauzer with hardly any teeth that was trying to bite me. I had to do them in like a traditional schnauzer trim. So we had a short body, a small little sort of graduation skirt, his leg furnishings, his beard, his eyebrows. I'm not going to say it was the most fantastic groom you've ever seen in the world, but I got a distinction for it. And that gave because I did so well with my grooming, it gave me an overall merit for my course. So most of the people that that's our bird, I went to the course, they actually just passed. But because I upped it a little bit with the grooming, I managed to get a merit, which is really good for me because I'm just not there academically. But obviously in a practical way, I can grasp that. So I did that, and then I did go on to do some other college courses, but I've always then dipped back into dog grooming, whether it be neighbours' dogs, grooming in people's houses, working for other people, all sorts of things, until obviously gaining experience over the years. I then had my own salon. I was able, with the help of a friend, getting the money together, I got my own salon in 2008. So, and then it just sort of skyrocketed from there, really. And I built up my experience and things like that. I did lots of different seminars on the way. I've done a little tiny bit of competition. I showed my own poodle, and I've just done bits and bobs. It's not, you know, I probably could have done a lot more, but I've always enjoyed practical pet grooming. I enjoy doing short pets because I have, over the years, come to know that, you know, you can put these long styles in pets because that is what we do the majority of the time, but it's hard for the owners to look after. It's very fireworky. I do apologise. That isn't gunshots in the background. That is, it's firework time. As you can see, my dogs are just chilling on the couch, not bothered about the fireworks whatsoever. I know a lot of dogs do have a lot of issues with fireworks, but mine are fine. Yeah, so once I got my own salon in 2008, I was pretty much off and running, and built up my experience that way. Now, I can't remember what year I did my fast track, but when I find the year that I actually did my fast track, because I think I've got a picture on Facebook of when I actually did it, so I'll put the year when I actually did this fast track qualification. And I'm just going to go through some of the things that I did on, you know, on this fast track and what it included. So I did actually do a first aid with this as well. So I updated my first aid, and I've actually done another first aid. I've done a few first aids after this. One being with Sophie Bell, which she does a lot on Zoom. So what I'll do is I'll include her details in the description because she is fantastic, and she's great to talk to and great to learn from. I have found over the years that if I'm not terribly great at reading things and taking in things like that, but if I am talking, I'm interacting practically, and I'm watching pictures and somebody talking, you know, video wise, I take that in a lot easier than I can do just reading a book. I don't seem to be able to digest it that way. I need to be sort of doing it, looking at it, and, you know, understanding it that way. So I did the first aid within this fast track, which I did separately. I just went and did a separate day. There was lots of people there on the same time. You know, we did, you know, the mouth to mouth, you know, type of thing, doing the bandages and all this lot, heart rates and such like. And it's also good to keep a refresher on that because you just never know when you might need it. And especially if you've been grooming a long time, like I have, and you've got the same customers, a lot of them are sort of getting older. So there's more chance that you might need some first aid remembrance. And, you know, and especially if you're a new groomer and, you know, you may have a bit more chance of having an accident because you're still learning and accidents happen. So having that first aid knowledge will be able to have it fresh in your memory, you know, as to what to do and not to panic and, you know, go through the whole thing. So, so first aid, that was great. So that was a refresher as well. And like I say, do keep up with those. And I also did hand stripping with mine because I have got that knowledge already. I was able to include it in my fast track as well. So I did that separately. So I'm going to go through the sort of the breakdown of the course and the things that were included. If I can find the right page. So we've got, obviously, we are doing firstly health checking, health checking the dog by the groomer. So we are doing a check-in form. So it talks about, obviously, your grooming diary. So all the dogs that I did for my qualifications had all got a grooming diary that I had to say exactly what I did. And I'll get one of my grooming diaries out and show you exactly what I did. Now, I did this all in writing, whereas now I do believe everything is sort of digital now. So you can converse with your tutor via the computer. I sort of went away with this folder and just asked, I sort of did it and asked in between. So I went and did the health, the animal health, the grooming diaries, health check-in, pre-groom, which obviously you do when, say you haven't done this dog before, either if you have or you haven't really, you're still going to go through the dog. You're going to ask the questions. You might, for instance, get their, if they're a customer that you've done before, you might get their information out and look at it. So you looked at it before the dog comes, and you might ask the owner, is there anything that's changed? You automatically look anyway. I'm terrible for, while I'm talking to the customer, I'm actually looking still, while they're actually talking to me. But yeah, so you'll go through your pre-groom. There's all sorts of other things, your matted dog disclaimers, which we can go down, shaved dog waivers, clipping double coats policy, dog breeds. There's a dog breed quiz in here, dog head types, customer record card. So that goes along with your check-in and your consultation, and ectoparasites and endoparasites. That was the health check-in part. And then there was another one where we did the first aid, clipper burn, identifying stress, the cycle of the canine growth coat, or coat growth, coat growth, the canine reproductive cycle, dog anatomy, zoonosis, diseases, handling, retaining and lifting dogs. There is also things on the anatomy and breakdown of your blades, the different parts. So in here, there was diagrams and information about the breakdown of the actual clipper blade itself, how to maintain that. Talks about blades and comb attachment guides. We've got another section here which is carrying out styling and finishing of a dog. So we've got coat types. There was a coat types. There's coat types exercise in here. There was a grooming activity exercise, scissor and thinner scissor techniques, nail trimming, drying to save time, terminology, hand stripping, styling checklist, and a dog grooming styling checklist. And also another section on to promote and maintain the health and well-being of the animals. So that'll be your animal health check form and your grooming diaries. That all that was broken down on there. There was some assignments to do. So Health check-in, the dog, that was an assignment. Assess and plan and record dog grooming work. Carry out styling and finishing of a dog. Promote and maintain the health and well-being of animals. So obviously I will go through each section, but there's certain things that, you know, a dog needs access to while you're grooming it. You know, it might be sort of access to water, access to go to the toilet, you know, those type of things. And a welcome received and care for customers. That was an assignment. And it says there about a group discussion paper, but I don't remember that part of it. And yeah, so if I just quickly, so there I did my first aid there, and literally it was like it was all pretty much written out, but there was things missing out of it, and things you know, that we were talking about. So there was like a slideshow and things like that, you know, and I find that, you know, easier to look at when you're trying to talk about something, when there's things to look at and talk about. Like I say, it goes in a lot better. All sorts of things was on this, you know, the skull fractures, you know, what to look for, recovery position, you know, all sorts of things, treatment of a wound, you know, hemorrhaging. It's like things in the salon that you may come across. Say, you know, you accidentally cut a paw, or you cut the skin or something like that, or you had a hematoma in the ear. As we know, when we come across dogs in the salon that are really matted, especially ears. So you've got your ear there and you've got a giant mat on it. And what that mat does is it restricts the blood flow. So then you go and clip it off, and then it's now the blood in there is being released in to the ear, because now it has somewhere to go, because before it was restricted, and it sort of all rushes in, and it can just literally, the ear isn't cut, but it will literally just drip out of the bottom. So you will see like blood accumulating at the bottom of the ear. It can also create pockets in the ear, which can cause, you know, infection and things like that. Because what happens is then that, you know, the dog will go home and shake its head like crazy, and it's all the blood is rushing into that ear and it's got nowhere to go. So, you know, there's all these sorts of things that you need to know when you're dog grooming. And it's really good to go through your first aid, you know, the importance of knowing all this. And if you were somebody that hasn't done any form of qualification, you know, you're not going to be aware of all these things. So this is why we always, you know, advise that you to do some sort of training, especially first aid. So yeah, so that was that, the first aid part. And then we've got what we got now. So bathing, drying and grooming procedures by coat type. So it's gone through all the different types of coats, smooth coats, you know, I'm not going to go through it all because you'll learn it in your course. So, you know, talking about, you know, the kind of short-haired dogs, for instance, a boxer, Doberman, they're all smooth-haired coats. Takes you through the bathing and the drying and the finishing of them. You know, and then you've got short-coated because you've got smooth coat and you've got short coat. So short coats will be like your pugs, you know, your Labradors. Combination coats. So examples would be your golden retrievers, your collies, your cavaliers, and it just goes through all these different types of coats, you know, and how you know many weeks it's recommended and what you do, and it'll take you through all these silky coats, double coats, double coated dogs, you know, your German Shepherds, your Malamutes, and all that type of thing. And then obviously your really heavy double coats, which are like your Newfoundlands and your Samoyeds and your Chows, and it just goes through, you know, how to dry them and finish them and everything. So what I like about this is because for me it was setting out pictures and short captions and snippets rather than a big long sort of book type thing that I don't find goes in. I like a shorter breakdown. Long coated dogs, wool coats, and how to, you know, to bath and dry and finish them. Wire coats, wire coated dogs, and then it goes through grooming steps. So it takes you through all the grooming steps, you know, when the dog's dropped off, and everything. It's gone through drop coats. What else have we got? I'm not sure this is in actual order. It goes through all the different styles here. So much information. Beards and brows, Westies. There's another one there on golden rules. Can't remember that one. Oh, golden rules. So humane treatment of the dog. Listen, ask questions, and set the owner's expectations and educate the owner. Be friendly, approachable, and look professional. Now there is a breakdown on each of those. It gives you all the information on there. Price list. It's just give you an idea. I mean, this is from some years ago, so let's look at what they were saying for let me have a look. Bichon Frise. Oh, well, back then, whatever year this was, it was £35 they were telling us, and they could take between 2.5 to 3 hours. Yeah, I charge a lot more than that. Especially, it's not so bad if you were doing a short trim, but you know, if you're taking 2.5 hours, 3 hours to do a Bichon, 35 really doesn't cut it, does it? So I think that was just a guide. So equipment, brilliant. It's got it guides you through all the different combs, your slicker brushes, your metal combs, your brushes, your pin brushes, your soft brushes. It's telling you all about different types of scissors, blades, clippers, stripping knives, comb attachments, all the different shampoos, all sorts of things. Another part was dog legislation. So you had to go through all that type of thing. Yeah. So what else have we got here? Yeah. So you go through your customer care cards. So all the things. I mean, we used to handwrite them. We used to write all this information and keep them in little plastic things, and then when the customers used to come, it'd be an A to Z and we'd be find them out, and then we'd get it out oh yeah, they have a 5F, and there's all sorts of things about their medical history, or if they're a little bit dodgy for their feet, or anything at all, what they had last time. If anything we noticed, it may have had a bad eye or a bad ear, or hot spots or anything like that. So each time they come, we just make a note on the card and then file it back in the thing there. Now I've got a digital one, so I can write all the information on there, and I can also, when I'm booking the customer, I can send them that information. They can fill all their vet stuff in, and then they can even sign it via email. They can, sign all their disclaimers. But things like, obviously you want their name, their address, the dog's name, age, vet's details, what blaze you did. You can even put down how long it took you, any allergies, vaccinations, if they're spayed and neutered, microchipped. And there was a little thing on my cards that actually said whether they were easy, fair, hard, nervous, hyper, old, heavy, a biter, noisy, a soiler, or banned. I did, when I was putting some of the information on from my cards onto my computer. It's very noisy out there today. Some of them, if other people, they'd put things like Wendy do or dangerous on the card. So understanding clipper burn, this is all these things that you just, you'd go through. Identifying stress, so all that type of thing, looking for the different signs. If you hadn't had any training and you hadn't spent that much time with dogs and stuff like that, you may not be able to pick up their body language. So to go through, your first aid and your identifying stress of dogs, it's really important for you to be able to do what you need to do. Like for instance, yawning, lip licking, panting, excessive salivation, sometimes smiling, teeth chattering, cheek puffing, showing the teeth, or and that type of thing. Their ears maybe pinned back. They might be tense. There's all sorts of different things that you can go through, and once you start going through this type of thing, you start recognizing a lot more with the dogs, and it will help you, to be able to get better at your job as well, because you're identifying, you can tell that, you haven't met this dog before, but it's showing some traits of nervousness when it's coming in. And a lot of pet owners, they kind of hesitate when they come in. I try and not let my owners hesitate, because it just makes the dogs more nervous. So I'm like, come on, straight in, and they tend to take to it a little bit, they don't have much time to think about it then. So yeah, your first aid, your clipper burn, your identifying stress, all that type of thing. Going through your health checks, animal welfare, so when you're going through, you probably find when you're doing, say, I'll go through my diaries, but if I go through a diary, they were on there, because you do a pre-assessment of the dog before you do it. I do the same dogs now, so I probably don't do the same checks as I would if I was in the larger salon seeing different dogs all the time. I probably would do that more, but now I'm sort of aware of the dogs that I do all the time. I tend to notice things automatically, but yeah, but there's lots of things that you need to sort of note before you groom, because you know they may go home and it may be more apparent, and then because you haven't had that communication with the pet owner, then you're going to get the questions back and forth from you and the owner. But if it's all sort of established before you start the dog, it just makes life a lot easier. So that's why it's so important to be really conscientious about what you do. Matted dogs, shaving dogs, clipping double coats, knowing all about that type of situation. Obviously, I don't, as a rule, I've never clipped a double coated breed, like, you know, people, because owners don't actually realise, they think they're doing the best for the dog. So obviously, double coated breed, it helps them, as we know, to keep cool in summer and warm in winter. It grows, that's their coat. So when you take that away, you are taking that, what's the word? Ability for them to do that, you know, to regulate their whole body temperature and things, because that's the way their coat is. Oh, my battery. That is the way that their coat is designed. You can trim it back to make it more manageable, but you don't have to cut into the undercoat, because then what you tend to find is you lose the colour, it goes all thick, and you get this coat funk, because it's not designed like a poodle is a single coat. So it grows, you cut it, grows, you cut it, and it'll grow the same. Whereas double coat won't do that. You can cut it and it might look okay to start with, but then it may grow back in patches. If there's underlying health issues, you may get patches of baldness. It just, you know, it loses its colour, its texture, and really all you need to do is keep them regularly groomed and keep the coat open and free so the air can flow around them, and they'll be able to cool themselves down, no problem whatsoever. So yeah, so you know, and having that knowledge, you can then, you know, instead of if you have that knowledge, you can advise the customer, and instead of somebody just coming to you and saying, right, can you just clip my collie off, you doing it, and then they'll come back to you and you say, you've ruined my dog's coat. So you need to have that knowledge to be able to then go to the dog owner and say, you know, because I've informed you of this, if you then still want me to do it, you need to sign this to say that you understand the risks involved in me doing this. I mean, obviously, if you've got an old dog, an elderly dog that's severely matted, it would be awful to groom that out. There may be parts you can groom out easily with some spray and things, like the body part maybe, but maybe the bum, I used to do it quite a lot on older dogs, but I might just take all the bottom off, all underneath off, but just try and save the top part. But you know, you've got to think about you know, the reason why you're doing it, and for the animal welfare. So there may be, you know, on occasion reasons for you to do that, and it's down to their health and well-being. So you go through all the different types of dogs. So, you know, what's in your gun dog group, what's in your working group, your pastoral, your terrier, your toy, your hound, your utility group, knowing about different head shapes. That's gone all through there. All your parasites. Now, as a rule, I don't groom dogs with fleas. I can remove ticks. I have got a tick remover, but I always make sure that I get permission before I do remove it, because if I leave the head in, it can cause a bit of an issue and may cause some infection. So if they're okay with me removing it, I'm used to removing it, but I always make sure that I get permission, you know. And if I found it during grooming, I'll send them a quick text and then I've got it in writing. It's okay for me to remove it. So obviously, you know, we need to know all about these type of things as well, because we can then again inform the owner about it and the importance and how they can treat them, because, you know, I've had it in the past. Dogs have got fleas, and you know they may come back with fleas again, and I'm sending them away. And so what I tend to do is I used to give them a little thing to say, "Oops, I found fleas," and also a treatment. So I give them 2 little leaflets to say that I found them. There's a treatment, and I also used to chat to them about it and tell them, obviously, you need to kill those fleas. They need the treatment, but you need to do the house as well. So because you need to stop that whole cycle, or it's just going to keep going on and on and on. You know, clean their beddings, clean the house, use, you know, sprays in the house and things like that. Because there are certain types of the year when we do see a lot of these things, and sometimes even when the dogs have been treated, you know, maybe they've overgrown and a bit matted, that treatment maybe not going to work as well because they've got so much hair and it's not getting down to where it needs to. So importance of regular grooming there. So yeah, I have to say, very rare do I find fleas now, because I'm with the same customers and they've all been educated. So yeah, so obviously knowing about the flea cycle, about ticks, about things like that. So it's like, you know, finding these things, you're gonna help you're gonna help them in the long run. Do you know what I mean? Because it can be quite costly. It is costly to us as dog groomers, and we can actually lose a lot of money because, you know, we may need to stop, not do the afternoons dogs, for instance, if we've had a really bad infestation dog that's come in and we've washed it, we've not seen the fleas, we've washed it, and then it's blasted them all over. So we need to make sure that we clean our area, we then spray and things like that. And it does say advise not to go at least 24 hours, and you know, so that's the reason why I don't do them, because it's not really fair. I can't earn my daily wage and I can't do another dog, so then that dog's then being delayed. But then again, they don't want to come in where there's a dog had fleas. So I just don't groom them with fleas. So how to it talks about safe restraints, you know, your belly loops, your neck straps, how to lift them and things like that, handling the dogs, going through that cycle of the coat, you know, the different phases of the coat growth, the reproductive cycle, talks about Cushing's and things like that, Addison's, hypothyroidism, zoonosis, which is obviously is from animal to human, which you do need to know about. Anatomy of the blade, so it's showing you how to break down blades and things like that. Tells you all about the different sizes of blade and the length that it gives you, and the comb attachments and things like that. So coat types as well, that was like a little bit of a quiz there. Scissor techniques, holding the scissors properly, trimming nails, drying to save time. Obviously, if you followed my channel, you'll know that obviously the cleaner and you know, well prepped they are, the quicker that they will dry because they're nice and clean. Terminology shows you, you know, different things, like tuck up, for instance, which I absolutely hate that word. It makes, every time I hear it, it just makes me feel like the dog's like that, you know, like, but upward curve of the underline of body, that type of thing, angulation, and it just breaks down different things on there. So if I just go through, so let me find a decent picture on here because these are not great photographs. Right, you've seen Suki and Sparky. This is how long I've been doing Suki and Sparky. So look, I did them there. There we go. So there's Suki and Sparky, and you see there's Suki before, and there's Suki after, and there's Sparky before, and then Sparky, and they have that same trim now. In actual fact, I think that was a 5F trim. They're on a 7 now. They have it even shorter. That was at my salon there. So yeah, so, and I'm going to see what actually I did. I did 5F. I've just seen it there. So I had to do, obviously, their grooming diaries. I had to do, I can't actually remember. In actual fact, does it say on the back? So I had to do, let me see. I'm going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It looks like I've done 13 different dogs with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different styles. I think it was 10 and 10. I think you could do 10 dogs, 10 different styles, something like that. So if I go through what I did with Suki and Sparky. So it was animal breed, their names, their coat types, description, colour and sex. So obviously they are Shih Tzus, Suki and Sparky. They are what you call a drop coat. Because if they were sort of left to grow natural, it would be a drop. Shih Tzus have a what you call a drop coat. They are a male and a female, and they're sort of, I would say, a white and champagne colour. So overall appearance, I had to say where they were bright, alert, responsive. Initial behaviour, they're very good, very sort of calm natured. Not your typical Shih Tzu. They're good. They're good. So what I had to observe with the observations with their mouth, teeth, nose, eyes, ears, body, fur, coat, skin, legs, feet, claws, pads, underbody, anus, tail, and any emergency action taken. So I might have found fleas, sent them home. That type of thing. So their mouth was healthy, the teeth are clean, they've got a wet nose, clear eyes, their ears were clean and hair free, their body perfect. A slightly greasy coat. So I did use it, and I put down the action taken. I used a deep cleansing shampoo on that. So the nails needed trimming, the underbody was clean, anus clean, the tails just kept long and natural, just maybe a little slight trim on the ends. So it says, how did you maintain the welfare of the dog during the groom, taking into consideration the dog's age, mobility, structure and health? So they had toilet breaks that were given, water available, and actually, at that time, I don't do this now, but going back, so in actual fact, I found the date that I did this, which was 2017. This is when I did this fast track. So yeah, so Suki she detested a bath. And because my bath had 2 connection points, I was able to bath them together. And when I bathed them together, Suki was a lot calmer. And I have put on in here that I bath them together because Suki is a lot calmer with her brother there. So, and she has got a slight shortening of one of her legs. She has something done with her hip when she was younger, so she has got one leg longer than the other at the back. So obviously I've got to take extra care because obviously I'm aware of that while I'm trimming. So Suki and Sparky come every 6 weeks. So I bath them in the hydro bath. I blasted till they were 95% dry, and then I used the finishing dryer. I actually used a deep cleansing shampoo. They both had a blueberry facial, and they were clicked on a 5F. I told you it was a 5F. I just knew it. They wanted it slightly longer because of the weather, and they usually have a 7F. There you go. I clipped their cheek area. I've actually got the Shih Tzu video with their faces on my videos, so I can always link that in the description. So if you want to actually see their trim, I've actually got it there. And then the rest of the head was scissored. Nice neat feet and short nails, pads inside, little pads were done with the Arco. Yeah, and also special attention to the dew claws as they do curl. I used my Oster cordless clippers, 5 blades, comb, brushes, nail cutters, scissors, blenders. They had a slight little bit of cologne on their tails. Safety net was used, safety noose in the bath and also on the table. They're able to stand nice for grooming. So I literally had to break down all the dogs that I did on my grooming diaries, and like this one. What was this one? This was Meg. Now Meg is no longer with us now. She's since passed away. She was a lovely black poodle, if you can see it on there. So there's her before, and there's her after. And I did a little bit of a close up of her scissoring on there, and then obviously did a breakdown of what I did. She was 10 then. She was 10. So, and she was 10 in 2017. So she's had plenty of toilet breaks because she's got a leaky bladder. Bless him. So yeah, so I did. Oh, this is another dog that I used to do, Alfie. He came to me because he didn't like to be groomed, and he was very aggressive with his previous groomer, and he was an angel for me. And I did him until he passed away as well. There's lovely Alfie. He was just quite a chunky cavalier. Look at his sad little face. Bless him. Yeah. He was an angel for me, but he detested his other dog groomer. But she did their other dog, so the other dog continued to go there. They just sent me the dodgy one. Oh, now the Kovu, he's no longer with us either. Oh, so sad. Now, this is Hobnob. Hobnob is he's still about. I don't actually groom him anymore because I wasn't able to get him in this one particular time. But this was Hobnob. Isn't he gorgeous? He's getting on in years now. He just suffer with his joints now, bless him. I know I did a lot of scissoring on him. He was on a 3F body and 8 comb legs, so I will have done the 3 on the body, put the length in for the legs, and then scissored the rest in. So yeah, so let's see what this one. Yeah, so I had to do quite a lot. I did a Scotty there. Scotty, Jack, he's no longer with us. He's no longer, he stayed with me until he passed away as well. Well, he had a pretty much a Scott. I can't really tell on these pictures, but he had a Scotty trim. He had the skirt. Oh, my battery's going dead. He's so handsome. That's him before and after. Don't know if you can see on there. Yeah, he was lovely, lovely dog. Does it say how old he was? 13. Yeah, he was 13. Bless him. A Westie. The 2 Westies. So I've done a little bit of a traditional style on my Westies. So there was some, I did, because I was in the salon, I did have access to doing some traditional styles. The miniature schnauzer as well, you see up there as well, miniature schnauzers. So I've done a Westie, schnauzer, I think I did a cocker spaniel, yeah, cocker spaniel. This is Roxy. Now Roxy I still groom, and you can see her, she had a long traditional style, and now she's a 7F body and 3 legs. This is my toy poodle that I used to show. So there's Larry before, and then there's him in the show ring there. You might be able to see him. See him there. So he's now on a 7F. So I don't show him anymore. But yeah, and then I just included some of my other grooms. So if you have a look at some of my other grooms that I included. There's my dog Callie. We won a competition with that one there. There's Lily Lou, who I still do. There is Suki and Sparky. That is Alfie. And this is Wilson. I still do Wilson. A lot of these dogs I still groom. I still do them. To the Lakelands up there with the fall. Bichon. That one, she's a terrier cross. What else have we got there? There's Ted. I still do Ted. He's younger there. Yeah, so I just included some more pictures of my work for my folder. But yeah, this is pretty much what I did for my thing. So I did some assignments as well. So grooming activity. So I had to do a small assignment on how to access a complete groom from 1 to 10 steps. So I literally had to type out which is quite good for me, the steps that I took, from the first call, ask the breed, if it's a dog, cat, condition of the coat, requirements of the owner, what style they want in, blah, 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 that type of thing. I did a pre-groom consultation, so I explained why it's important to discuss the following with the client, and the request for styling, etc. I did the dog anatomy. I did go over the animal welfare. So obviously, these are all really important things that you need to know in your dog grooming business. So you need to know the Animal Welfare Act, COSH, the health and safety, and data protection. Those you need to know. So you need to know what you're going to be at risk for, all sorts. So another assignment I had to do, let me see. So describe the procedure, timings and policy for the safe removal of a matted coat, and what would be your conversation to the owner should you not be able to remove the mats in line with animal welfare. So obviously, if there's, like we know, if a dog's coat is a certain percentage of matting, the option is the only option. Option one, the only option is clipping off. There are times when there's a certain amount of matting, you might get bits in the ear, a little bit in the tail. We can safely remove those without causing unnecessary pain and suffering. When you have a dog that is matted all over, or it's got maybe 80% matting, your option is clipping. So you obviously need to explain that to the customer before you do it. If they do not want you to clip them off, that's their call. But I am not going to demat a dog just because the owner wants me to. It's not good enough. That's not, that isn't in line with the Animal Welfare Act. And they'll pretty much find that most groomers will say it's got to be shaved. And then what comes in? Your mat waiver forms. So, and on your forms outlines everything that you will talk about matted dogs. If they're not happy, they have to go away. Okay, so you take it home, you groom the mats out, and then you bring it back to me. Because I know that in maybe an hour, they will come back and say, yeah, can you shave it off, please? The hair will grow, and there's ways and means of talking to customers. Now, if I was to say to a customer, no, that's matted, I've got to shave it, that's it, the customer would be going, oh no, not doing, But if you explain to them in a nice way and you say, I'm so sorry, let me just show you this. And I put them on the table and I show them, I get them to feel, I work closely. And if they still, after everything that I'm saying nicely, calmly and kindly, say no, I don't want my dog shaved, I'll say, right, okay, well, I can't do this for you. It is against the Animal Welfare Act, and I do not want to cause pain and suffering to your dog. So you will need to take it away and deal with it yourself. But you're welcome to bring it back to me if you want it clipping and sorting. but obviously we're going to explain the hair will grow. And I always say that I will try and leave them something. I always used to like to say, you know, because they will try and say, oh, can't you just cut the top off? And no, you can't cut the top off because it's destroyed the hair. It's just damaged. It's damaged. You need to start again. But I always say, I'll try and leave you something. You know, I'll say, I'll find a good part. So I can give him a little cute face, or, you know, I can save some of the tail, or, you know, but worst case scenario, it will have to all come off, but it will grow. It'll grow. So, you know, and if you stick with us, you come every 6 to 8 weeks, we will have your, and show them a picture of your work that you've done. We can get him to look like this. Just give it 8 weeks. Come back 8 weeks and that's free, and I will make your dog look beautiful. And after time, your dog will, you know, we can work on any behaviours and all sorts. You've just got to really work with your customers. So anyway, that was one of my conversations that I had to write out. Identifying visual signs and physical signs of stress and things like that. So I had to write all that out. Handling, and then all sorts of things. So handling restraint, parasites, what else to do? Finding fleas in the salon, and what to advise the customer. Symptoms of Lyme disease, symptoms of ear mites. What does a roundworm look like? A tapeworm. All sorts of things. How to recognise and promote the well-being of dogs. Explain welfare requirements. So they must have access to water, access to toilet area, resting when required, and all health needs met. You know, age, mobility, behaviour. Describe how dog grooming can promote the health and well-being of the dog. So maintains healthy coat and skin, regular nail trims to keep the foot structure and posture, how to prevent clipper burn, brush burn, what else? Identify 3 possible breed defects, hair stages. What considerations would you have to consider for a brachycephalic dog? So I've put all this type of thing, you know, skin issues, eye issues, respiratory system, a little bit of a write-up on that. I had to explain a double coat, what I would do for a combination coat. I've explained a wire coat, I've explained silky coats, wool coats. I did a nice breakdown of a Bichon there. It was my Bichon. The head and the ears and the body, what I did on the legs, broke that all down. What else did I do? Oh, then that was learning the parts of a blade, the flea cycle, matted dogs, dog bites, explain the importance of maintaining equipment for use. Now, I have actually done cleaning and thing video, because obviously knowing how to maintain your equipment is very important as well. Not only just so because you need to use it on a regular basis, but everything is so expensive, and if you don't look after it and you need to buy more, then it's going to cost you more money. So if you look after things, not only are they then safe to use on other dogs because they're nice and clean and tidy, but they're going to last you longer, the longevity of everything if you look after it. So that's really important to know. explain the difference between straights, thinners and chunkers and everything. So I explained all the different scissors. I explained what I can use for hand stripping and why. And I've done many different videos on hand stripping and clipping and stuff like that with the Border Terriers. Obviously using strip knives and strip stones and rubber thimbles and chalk, as I've talked about previously. How to clean your blades. I must have done a printout on that. Keeping your maintaining your work area. It sounds a lot, and it did take me a while to complete this because I was working at the same time. But I got through it. I then, obviously, once I'd done all my, there we go, I did my hand stripping, and the lady actually came to my salon and she assessed me on doing, my hand stripping, suitable tools and my method that I used, any thinning and blending techniques, handling and my approach, my bathing and drying, everything like that. Did it say what I got for that? So she came to my salon and assessed me on 2 dogs actually. One which was a Yorkshire Terrier that's should I say. She's a little bit of an out. So obviously that it was just a short trim, but I did a little Yorkie head on her. And obviously that demonstrated not only can I do the trim, but I can competently do it when they're a little bit feisty, shall we say. And she did actually, for certain things like the nails, I used the Elizabethan collar because she detested the muzzle. So if I was to put the muzzle on, she would try and get it off. But with the Elizabethan collar, she hasn't got anything on her face, but she just can't bite me. So that was the technique that I used to be able to sort of trim her nails successfully and do bits of her feet that she just used to be very quick on me. So because she would let me do the majority of the groom, it's just that she would just turn on me very, very quickly for certain things. And she was fine for her head. As soon as you take that Elizabethan collar off, she let me scissor her head, no problem whatsoever. And the tutor did actually try and touch her at one point, and that didn't go well. But I did say, yeah, I wouldn't if I were you. But so I did a hand strip, Border Terrier, and I obviously, she asked me questions throughout, and she did a lot of writing up on what I did, what I used. Obviously, I had to go through the whole health check with her as well. And this was Bertie. Now, this was Bertie when I used to hand strip him. Now, I have just done a video with Bertie. And you can see actually that his coat was a lot better on here, and he got a lot more hair on the bottoms of his legs. Now he's very sensitive, and we don't strip him. We do the clip version. But there it was Bertie when I'd stripped him. There was before, and there was after. But I also had done a hand strip as one of my dogs as well. So this one was Jasper that I used to do, and you can see there's his coat to start with. There's all his coat there, and there's him finished. Now he did have a very thick undercoat, so I've actually done 2 hand strips for that, and the short trim. And then I had to go to the assessment centre and do a dog there. So I did that in July 2017, my hand strip. And then I did a Yorkie on the same day. So that was another one that they assessed. And then I went to their centre and they provided me with a dog to groom. And that dog was actually called Jasper as well. And it was a Shih Tzu cross. It had a drop coat. And I may actually have a picture. What I'll do is I'll find the picture and I'll pop it on there so you can actually see the dog that I did on my assessment day when I went to the centre. So he'd been previously groomed 5 weeks prior to me doing him. And if I just go through some of the comments, you can see. I had to. I was given instructions as to what the groom was, and it was a 4-comb attachment all over, and then a scissored face. And these are the things that I'd put down. So the comments regarding the dog's temperament and health. So Jasper is this is what I've written. So Jasper is a lovely natured dog. He's a little uncomfortable trimming his front legs and feet. He dislikes his nails done. Trimmed as much as I could possibly do. I don't think they were terribly overgrown, if I remember. He's in good health. He's got a healthy mouth, healthy teeth. His ears are clean. Just a small amount of hair that was inside his ears. I use some straight scissors, comb attachment, 4-comb attachment, clippers, and scissors, and I used a scissor spray. I actually took my own clippers because I like the Arco. So I took my Arco clippers and my 4-comb attachment, my straights. It does say that I used some chunkers and thinners because they're the chunkers are a great finishing scissor. And what I tend to do is use the chunker first as a finishing scissor, but then I'll go over my straights to make it like more precise. I will have used sort of thinners around the eyes and things like that. The blenders were used. I used a slicker and a comb. And part of, it's a big checklist, what they were actually checking on my groom. But what I'd noticed with Jasper is what I put down is that I noticed that Jasper's hair was a little bit uneven. So I trimmed him on a 4 to make it all the correct sort of length, and then I went over it. And the assessor said it was an excellent finish on the body and legs flawless. Well, that's lovely, isn't it? Other things, what else did we do? So there was no tufts or clipper marks. So I fluff dried him to give a nice even finish. And they put flawless finish. Suitable tools and methods. I put what did I put there? Drop coats can be hard to make even. I've used a variety of scissors used to make as neat as possible. So basically what I mean there is I've gone over the comb attachment and then I've gone over with a few different pairs of scissors, being the chunkers and the straights, to go over my clipper work to make it nice and neat. And they've put excellent, safe use of tools, and a variety were used. The scissor work itself, and I've put obviously that I used a variety of different scissors, straights to chunkers and thinners, to make all the soft lines. And they've put excellent finish achieved and all equipment used safely. So that's nice. Another one there, used my scissor spray. to help the coat sit nice and eliminate the static, and they've just put excellent finish. So my handling and approach, so I used the net noose, and Jasper stood nice on the table, and they put Jasper was relaxed on the table throughout the groom, so that was good. Equipment, so I've used my 4-comb attachment, my scissors, my straights, chunkers, thinners, whatever, and they've put exceptional finish achieved using a variety of equipment. So the ears are trimmed appropriately, so we're looking at the ear shape here. So I put, they wanted not too long and not too short to match up with the body and length and balance overall. So it's what I generally say on most of my trims, that I try and do an overall balance. So if I'm doing a short body, I don't want a massive head, so I try and balance out, you know, so if I've got say a 5 body, I can do a little bit longer on the head to balance in. If I've done a 7F body, I don't want then too much hair, so I'll shorten it all up so it all looks in balance, and then as it grows it'll sort of grow in tandem. So they've put ears were in balance with the head. What else? The head trimmed appropriately, so I've put I've done a neat teddy face, scissored only in balance. Scissored only, so I'd only scissored it, I hadn't done anything else but scissor it, and I did it in balance with the body, and they put excellent and head achieved in balance. So that was good. What else? So body shape, so I've used a 4-comb attachment on the body to give a nice neat cut, neat finish, and they've just put excellent finish. Tail, tidied the tail at the base only, and left it naturally, so it was a good even flag tail they've put. 4 leg shape, so I'm presuming the front legs. So nice cylindrical leg with a round neat foot, that's what I've put, and they've put lovely something shaping and round foot, maybe column, lovely column shaping, I don't know, that's good anyway. Back legs, so I've put the same length, and they've put lovely angulation on the rear. Shape of the feet, I've put cleaned inside the pads and I've rounded the foot, and they put excellent round feet achieved and lovely something effect, lovely effect, I don't know, it was lovely anyway. Overall balance and shape, so what have I put? Jasper has a nice shape. I would like to give more angulation, but only 4-comb attachment used all over as requested. So I maybe have put a little bit more angulation in if it wasn't stated that it was just a 4-comb attachment. So I may have just scissored a little bit in. I probably would have done. Maybe would have looked nicer with a little bit more shape. This is what I'm saying, but I've gone off what I've been told on the thing, so I probably will have put a little bit of scissoring on there. So amazing groom and excellent finish achieved. So did I use any PPE or maintenance of equipment? Yes. At the end of the groom, equipment was cleaned and any required maintenance carried out? Yes. And I've put, I must have washed them. I must have blade washed them and oiled them before I put them back in my box. And the overall comment was, Wendy is always very compassionate with the dogs. The prep work on Jasper was excellent. The finish on the coat was flawless. An excellent balance throughout the groom. Excellent shaped feet and legs. So I can't really ask for better than that, can I really? And I'd done that assessment a little. This is how long, so it must have been a couple of years. I've done this over a couple of years. This because this was done in 2019, so I must have started it in 17 or the end of 17, and I'd actually completed it by there. So I think I must have had about 18 months to complete it. So it does actually give you all the information on I think you would have got like a training day with that, but because I've already got that experience, I was able to achieve my hand stripping. So pretty much that was it. So, you know, I've done 10 different dogs, 10 different styles, and hand stripping and first aid. So, you know, a lot there. You know, if I just go back to the beginning, if you're still here, you know, from the very start, you know, your health and safety, your health and well-being, your tools and equipment, general stuff, you know, all your cleaning and your maintenance and everything like that, your breed knowledge, your head styles, your trimming techniques, everything. So pretty much what you would do on a normal grooming, but I was able to do that while I worked and using the dogs that I'd got in the salon. I don't think you even had to have those, because you may not have a traditional Westie, traditional Spaniel, whatever. At that moment in time, I was able to do, you know, a short version of everything, and do all these different styles. So it looks like I've done a King Charles, I've done a Spaniel, done a Shih Tzu, I've done a Lhasa, done a Westie Fox Terrier, I've done Cockapoos, Bichon Frise, Poodles. I did a Chinese Crested, a Yorkshire Terrier, Border Terrier, and a Shih Tzu Cross. So I've done, you know, showed a variety of different things that I can actually do. And there's some traditional styles in there as well. So yeah, so I've done that over sort of 18 months to 2 years. And I was actually lagging a little bit, and they did get in touch and say, you know, we really need to get this this moving along. Because I'm terrible at you know, stuff like this. You know, I did start my ICMG, and I did quite a few of the different things. I did my mixed breed, I did all sorts of different things for it. Never completed it to the end because I now wouldn't have those breeds to do, and going there wouldn't have the time really to go and do anything. I actually did start the cat grooming for the ICMG, not completed it. I don't have the cats available now. I could probably do the groom assessment. I don't do so much of the clipping now. So, you know, I'm glad that I did that, and it did refresh my memory, and it was so invaluable to do the first aid and all that type of thing, because, you know, the main things that we do, you know, is keep up to date with our training, have our first aid, be insured, and, you know, know all our health and safety and things like that. They're really, really important. So sorry if this was a really long video and you just had to listen to me ranting and raving about what I did on my course. But what I will do is I will bullet point all the things that I did on my fast track. I will put down the schools that do this OCN, which I did, which is a recognised level 3 qualification in dog grooming. And obviously there are other courses available. There is the City and Guilds, which is probably the most popular dog grooming course that you can do. You know, it's absolutely fabulous, you know, to do some kind of qualification. It's just invaluable. There is so much to learn, and you can never stop learning in our industry. I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you want to know more, please write in the comments and I will try and point you in the right direction. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, and I will see you very soon. Bye for now.